Hey guys, it's Miss Escamilla. Today is Wednesday, so tonight you will need to complete the two problems for Wednesday's homework. The lesson for today involves solving multi-step problems using equations, but also strip diagrams like we've seen the last couple of evenings. Um, I want you to notice, you'll notice in your assignment, in your homework today, that the strip diagrams are going to vary because we could be mixing up operations. So you could see where you're going to have to multiply and add in your problems, or you may have to multiply and then subtract in your problems. Basically, they're multi-step problems where you are going to sometimes be doing multiple steps of the same operation, or you could be doing multiple steps of different operations, mixing up operations such as addition and subtraction, or multiplication and subtraction, or multiplication and addition. So you have to read really carefully to determine what operations you will be needing to use to solve the problem. I did tell you guys today that your strip diagrams may vary. And if they are different than what we do as a class when we check it tomorrow, it's okay. What I am most concerned with is that you are at least attempting to do it and trying your best, and that's what matters to me the most. These are hard. They're not easy. It is challenging. So just all I really want to see is that you guys are at least putting the effort into it and trying, because we are going to get better at these the more we practice. So in today's problem, it says that Chris's computer has 3 hard drives with 64 gigabytes of space each and 2 hard drives with 16 gigabytes of space each. And the files on her computers use 78 gigabytes of space. So how much of hard drive space does her computer have left? Okay, so what we need to find out is how much hard drive space does her computer have left. Okay, so we kind of need to know how much space she has on her computer, how much of that space she's actually already using on her computer, and then we can figure out how much she actually has left. So I noticed that her computer has 3 hard drives with 64 gigabytes of space each. That means each one of those 3 hard drives has 64 gigabytes of space. So we first need to determine, well, how much space would that be? If she has 3 hard drives and each of them take up 64 gigabytes of space, how much total space would that be? So the first thing we need to do is find how much hard drive space is on 3 hard drives with 64 gigabytes of space each. So in our strip diagram, we are going to represent that by showing 3 rectangles with 64 in each one of them. This represents the 3 hard drives, each having 64 gigabytes of space. And in order to determine how much total space that would be, we would multiply 64 by 3 because we see it 3 times. And the answer we get will equal n, which is the total space on 3 hard drives with 64 gigabytes. So our first step is to take 3 and multiply it by 64. And I'm going to use the standard algorithm. 3 times 4 is 12, carry my 1. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19. So on those 3 hard drives, she has 192 gigabytes he does, of data. Okay, now when I go back to the problem, I notice that he also has 2 hard drives with 16 gigabytes of space on each one. So we draw another strip diagram that would represent that. And so the step 2 would be to find how much hard drive space is on 2 hard drives with 16 gigabytes of space. So this represents 1, 2, the 2 hard drives, and each of those hard drives has 16 gigabytes of space. So that tells me that we are going to need to multiply 16 twice because he has 2 hard drives with 16 gigabytes of space. And then the answer we get will give us the total space on the 2 hard drives with 16 gigabytes. So if I take 2 times 16, I already know that in my head. I know that if you take 16 and you double it, because we're multiplying by 2, it gives me 32. So he has 192 gigabytes of space on the 3 hard drives, 32 gigabytes of space on the 2 hard drives. Okay, so we need to now determine, well, how much space is that altogether? Altogether, how much space is that? Okay, so we're going to do that by combining 192 and 32. And we could draw another strip diagram that would represent that. So here's the 192 gigabytes of space from the 3 hard drives. And here's the 32 gigabytes of space from the 2 hard drives. And so when I combine those, I get a sum of 224. Sorry, I was just checking my computation, making sure I didn't make any mistakes. Okay, so now this represents the total hard drive that she has on her computer. That's all that space that she has. But she's already using some of that space because it tells us that she has some files on her computer that use 78 gigabytes of this space. So she's already using some of that, and our job is to determine how much of that space does she have, or he. I keep calling Chris a she. I guess Chris could be a she, short for Christina, or Christy. So now we want to know how much space she has, or he has, left. So that means we are going to need to subtract the 78 that he already has on his computer from the 224 total space that he has. And we could draw a strip diagram that would represent that. So in this strip diagram, the whole thing represents 224 total space on the computer. The 78 right here represents what's already being used. So the rest of this is going to be all the space that's left on that computer to be used. So when I find the difference, or I subtract 224 and 78, can't take 8 from 4, so I borrow from the 2, making him a 1. The 4 becomes 14. 14 minus 8 is 6. I cannot take 7 away from 1, so I need to borrow from the 2, making him a 1. That 1 becomes an 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. 1 minus 0 is 1. So that gives us 146. So Chris has 146 gigabytes of hard drive space left on her computer. Oh, you know what? It is a her. Yay. All right. I've got to go answer my door. So good luck on your homework tonight. Just do your best. I am proud of how hard you have been working. Bye.